All right, so women's dress sense. Well, I'm not going to be stupid enough to start going into women's fashion because the truth is I have no idea about women's fashion. But what I will start with is just some general principles from a guy's perspective about what does and doesn't work. Okay, so what does work? Well, the truth is, what we like to see is that you're comfortable with what you're wearing. There's nothing worse than seeing a woman who's wearing really, really high heels but can't actually walk in them or doesn't feel comfortable in them. So whatever you're wearing, make sure that you feel absolutely comfortable in that. Don't go out wearing something just because you think it's going to attract a guy, but actually it's not something you'd normally wear. And the other thing, don't confuse wearing very little and guys giving you a lot of attention with genuine attraction. Okay, let me tell you a little something about guys. Guys, if you show skin, they will look at you. That's just a fact. You show anything, we're going to look. And we can't help it, okay? So if you wear a low-cut top, we're looking. You show a lot of leg, we're looking. But that doesn't mean that there's genuine attraction there, okay? Every guy is looking for a woman who he wants to settle down with eventually. Even if he's just looking at that person as a girlfriend right now, he's looking at someone who is long-term. Anyone that he's looking at short-term, if he's only looking at her short-term, it means she's showing something that he suddenly thinks, well, this is just a one-night stand. Or this is just a one-night thing. So what happens is a lot of women will go out on the town, they'll wear very little. In fact, I'll tell you a story. I have a friend who owns a nightclub. And I was at that nightclub the other night. He was promoting an under-18s event. And what was really scary to me was I was seeing all these young girls walk through the door, these teenage girls, and all of them are wearing next to nothing. Like 90%. It was unreal. And what I found was every one of these girls had developed the association that wearing next to nothing got attention. But actually what they didn't realize was, although it got them attention on the night, none of the guys there were necessarily looking at them as a long-term prospect. Because we want someone who's high value, who's classy, who's in demand, and we don't see someone who's wearing very, very little as that. Okay, so make sure that when you're dressing, you don't dress for men, firstly. Okay, wear what you want to wear what you're comfortable in, and don't worry about showing too much. The truth is, we're looking at everything. We're looking at the whole package, how sexy you look, how sexy you feel, and to be honest with you, how sexy you look is very dependent on how sexy you feel. So when you walk around in the daytime, we're not looking at how little you're wearing, we're looking at how you walk, we're looking at how you move. I mean, we're going to cover this when it comes to body language, but that's the stuff we're really picking up on. Not your clothes or how little you're wearing or anything like that. You know, some men are more intuitive and they think, well, that's a nice dress and so on, but it does not make the difference. And then when it comes to makeup, again, I'm not going to start telling you about makeup because I know nothing about makeup, but what I do know is that guys don't really notice too much. Okay, so when we're looking at you walking down the street, again, we're looking at the whole thing. We're just looking at how good you feel. We're not looking at your makeup and thinking, well, she needs a bit more mascara there or she needs a bit more foundation there. We're really not thinking about any of that stuff. It really does not bother us. And I know from speaking to girlfriends of mine, when you're at their, you're at their place and you see them taking hours and hours and hours getting ready, and you find that they're so caught up in what they're wearing and how their makeup looks that they forget that actually it's all about how they go out and present themselves. So this is a big, big deal. And I find so many women get it wrong because they're so worried about how they look all the time. The other thing I'd say is when you're going out, especially if you're looking to attract men, don't spend hours and hours getting ready. This is something that nearly every woman I know does, and despite how much advice I give in this area, they still do it. But remember the nights when you go out and it's straight after work and you finish work, you're feeling good, you feel like it's time to relax and you don't have time to go home. So you go straight from work out. Now, do you feel more or less sociable in that moment than when, say, you spend hours getting ready? See, the truth is, when you spend hours getting ready, you build this whole thing up. You build up the night, you build up how you look, you're looking at every little imperfection in the mirror, you're worrying about everything. Now when you go out, because you've spent so long getting ready, now you're expecting people to look at you. And when they maybe don't look at you, it's killing your self-esteem because you're thinking, well, I just spent 3 hours getting ready. Why is no one looking? When the truth is, most of the women I speak to who just go out straight after work or they just go out not worrying too much, when they get out, they feel more relaxed because they think, well, I haven't put in hours of effort tonight. I haven't worried about every single little detail. So you know what? I'm not going to go for a perfect night. And usually when you don't go for a perfect night, that's when you have the best nights, isn't it? Aren't the nights that you don't build up the best nights? Whereas the ones that you worry about everything, the ones that you dress up and worry about every single little detail, they're the ones where you get nervous, where you put pressure on yourself, and where you worry about what this or that guy's going to say. So go out in a casual way. And the same goes for when you go out in the daytime. Now, I'm not saying don't look your best, but there's a difference between looking your best and worrying about every tiny little thing. The big rules are feel confident in your body, and bottom line, if that means going to the gym and getting yourself in shape and feeling good about your body, then do that. Once you feel good about your body, to be honest with you, what you wear doesn't matter too much. Now, obviously, you might want to keep up with fashion. You might want to look after your dress sense, buy some new clothes. But don't do it for men. Do it for you. Just do it because it feels good. But don't do it because you have this association that either men are really, really going to notice or that they necessarily have these positive associations with wearing very little. Because I can tell you that both really don't matter too much. We're not looking at your dress sense, we're looking at you. And that's the big thing that's important with your dress.